Today I'm taking the all-new Acela first class from Washington DC to New York City. I'm going to show you what it's really like on board. The new seat layouts, the pros, the cons, and even the seats you must avoid. From the first class service to the food, you'll get a first-hand look at the entire experience as if you were right here on board with me. Let's go. Walking through the main doors of Union Station always feels grand. I've been to dozens of amazing train stations across the country, many of them also named Union Station, but none of them do a dome quite like the one here in DC. The stage at Union Station is a recent addition that makes the whole place feel even more joyful. It's the day after a holiday, so the station is surprisingly quiet and peaceful. Anyway, I got here early enough to look around, and I discovered this rendering of the station's ambitious futuristic design. Well, today's highlight is this one, the NextGen Acela. A first-class ticket means instead of the regular passenger waiting area, you get access to the Amtrak Metropolitan Lounge, where a variety of hot and cold drinks, as well as snacks and fresh fruit are all complimentary. Be careful though, this chocolate has more caffeine than a cup of coffee. Anyhow, with my favorite chocolate chip cookie in hand, I made myself comfortable in a cozy little corner of the lounge. The best part about the DC lounge is that you can relax worry-free because they personally announce your train and then escort you right to the platform. And there they are, the old and the new, side by side representing the past and the future. It was a perfect coincidence to see as I made my way down the platform to find the all-new Acela. Don't forget to take some pictures too, okay? Ooh, I can't believe it's finally happening. Alright, let's go check it out. First class is, of course, the very first car on the train. Inside it's styled in this sleek gray and orange color scheme, with a spacious 2x1 seating configuration. I snagged seat 2A, a solo window seat facing forward. They have a few different setups here. There are solo seats paired with the full table, an accessible space with a companion seat, and the least popular 4-person table, which is usually the last one to sell out. As I settled in, I noticed the first big change, the luggage racks. They're now wide open, unlike the previous airplane-style cabinets that had doors. The old design had a railing that blocked some of the space, so I think this is a nice improvement. If you have a larger bag that doesn't fit overhead, there is extra storage space at the front. Alright, time for the initial sit-down test. You see that look on my face? Maybe it's just that new leather stiffness, but this seat felt surprisingly firm, so I had to give it a couple of quick punch tests. We'll see if it softens up throughout the ride. And for a little perspective, this is how I fit in the seat. The headrest is ergonomically designed, and my first thought was, the headrest is definitely better than bright lights. That's something I'll have more comments on later in this ride. Luckily, my neighbors across the aisle took some time to board, so I was able to get a full shot of myself in the seat. Now, for a real-world legroom test, I've got my personal item-sized backpack stuffed completely full. As you can see, it's a tight squeeze under the seat in front, and it definitely gets in the way of the footrest. So, up the overhead rack it goes. Another improvement is the abundance and variety of outlets. One questionable thing, however, were these USB dongles that were already plugged in. It was right here.
Which somebody probably lost.
Oh, somebody left it, you
yes.
think? Oh, okay. Not even the onboard crew seemed to know they were here, and only some seats had them, so I'm really not sure if they're safe to use. Moving on, hiding behind the folding tray is the netted seat pocket. While it's not the most sizable, it'll get the job done. Now, let's talk about the single best and worst thing about this train, the windows. I got extremely lucky with my seat, but my neighbor in 1A, they're missing 2/3 of their window. And if you thought that was bad, take a look at row 3. There's no window at all. I would for sure get sick riding in that seat for more than an hour. I had no idea about these window issues, so I definitely dodged the bullet here. There's still more to test, like how far the seat reclines, but just then, the service started. Glad to see the hot towel tradition is still a thing. And right on schedule at 2:50, we started pulling out of the station. Goodbye, old Acelas. So, let's see what this all-new Acela is really about. And it did not disappoint. Just 5 minutes into the ride, the train was already hitting 120 miles per hour. The world flies by as the first-class amenities start arriving. Nuts and drinks in these fancy Acela cups. Included in a first-class ticket is a wide selection of wine, beer, and cocktails. Drinkers rejoice. But that speed comes with a warning. See how my drink is shaking and the can is moving? Be mindful of where your can is, otherwise it may fly off. Wanting to keep our train as clean as possible, I asked for some extra hot towels to clean up the mess best I can.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Attention, please. BWI, Third Grand Marshall Airport. Next station stop coming up shortly.
Now, 20 minutes into the ride, we were arriving at a stop that would have been on average an hour drive. And as I continued to look around, another passenger who I think was an Amtrak employee pointed out a hidden feature I had missed, a retractable tray. It has a dedicated cup holder, but just be warned, it's a cup holder, not a bottle holder. Later, even with an 8-minute delay, we made it to Baltimore in under 40 minutes, a trip that would normally take an hour and a half by a car. There's always an array of sights to enjoy from a train. Normally though, this is what I see and this is how I sit. My posture isn't the greatest, I know. I often lean to find a comfortable position. However, with these hard, immovable headrests sticking out, finding that comfy posture was difficult and, at times, painful. After an hour or two on the train, I could really start to feel the downside of these stiff leather seats. I had to keep getting creative to find a comfortable position. At least the recline, or tilt as it really is, was relatively good. It's the kind of system where the lower cushion slides forward while the back of the chair stays in place. I've seen this on Brightline, which had marginal tilt at best. So Acela definitely wins on that point, but with Brightline being famous for its uncomfortable seats, I'm not sure if that's much of a compliment. Eventually, I did find a good spot. I'm definitely going to have to try the full Boston to DC route soon to really put these seats and speed to the test. Hint, top speed is only possible in one specific section. Along with the meal, I was given a commemorative Acela cookie. almost like an appetizer for the main course. For now, I'm planning on taking it home to cherish and maybe freeze forever. And for the actual meal, I chose the Korean barbecue short rib. The menu promised it would be tender, and it did not lie. This was an unbelievably soft, juicy, fall off the chunk piece of meat. And here's a genius little detail. Even when the ride gets a little shaky, the trays have these silicone pads that grip your plates and keep everything from sliding around. Kudos to Amtrak for that. With the meal finished, you could just enjoy the scenery as the train speeds towards your destination. But I figured there's more to the train than just a first-class car. To get to the other cars though, you have to pass through the galley where the crew is hard at work. They were so busy that I didn't want to bother them by taking pictures, but it was a clear upgrade from the old Acela's cluttered galley space. They also made a huge improvement to the restroom. Most of the functions are either button operated or hands-free, and I mean it is a huge improvement. Look how spacious it is. Now, because it's such a huge improvement, it takes up a lot of space, which results in just one restroom for the car. Venturing further down towards the cafe, I was delighted to see that all the doors are operated by touchless sensors. Business class, which is really the standard car on Acela, definitely felt much narrower compared to the 2-1 configuration of first class. I'll probably have to test out the business class soon. A major difference besides the blue and gray color scheme was the armrest. I think a foldable armrest might actually be preferred by some people. The restroom seemed identical here, but your only food option is the cafe car. The Cafe Acela has a minimalist, spacious design, featuring a digital menu and an array of grab-and-go items. It seems they are also planning on a self-checkout feature, so stay tuned for that. As you can see, these padded rails have replaced the bar stools from the old train. And luckily, I received an extra cookie here. I guess I can try one later. I was surprised when we blew right past the Wilmington station without stopping. I guess your options are limited if this is your station stop. But of course, we had to stop at Philadelphia's iconic 30th station. Did you know that Philadelphia was the third busiest Amtrak station in the country? This was where I saw the new Acelas for the first time many months ago, so it was a nice moment of reminiscence. Time really flies, doesn't it? And this picture highlights another subtle but great touch. No, not the cookie, but the frit or dot matrix on the window. They're built in a very unintrusive way, and having experienced poorly designed ones before, this thoughtful touch was certainly appreciated. And just like that, while cars sat in traffic below, the train continued to move at over 100 miles per hour until my destination was in sight. Hello, New York City. Now, while I had a perfectly satisfying ride with only a minimal delay, I was shocked to discover this same train to Boston was actually delayed by more than 2 hours. Phew, lucky me. Oh, hello, aren't you good looking? The train, of course. So, that was my first ever trip on the new Acela First Class. And here's one last surprise perk. Your ticket also gets you the lounge access on arrival. I have to say, I'm already planning my next trip, so make sure you're subscribed for that. And I will see you on the next ride.